Podcast power. Y'all make sure to go over there and check out Real Talk on musicloveawards.com and vote for their podcast to be #1 podcast. Make sure y'all go help them win that award. Let's go. musicloveawards.com. Make sure you vote for Real Talk podcast. Okay? Y'all heard me. All right, let's get it.
Hello, I'm Author Nikki Nicole from the Breaking the Silence podcast, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about one of my favorite podcasts out there, Real Talk Monday. It airs at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's on Pandora, Spotify, YouTube, and so many more platforms. If you're looking for a real conversation from a godly perspective, with a little twist to it to get you to thinking, tune in on Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
What is up, everyone? It is your favorite Kentucky boy up in the building, and I am just excited about being here tonight. We have a great show planned for y'all tonight. We got my girl, Miss Sheila Renee, up in the building.
Hey, y'all.
sis.
Hey, it's Monday, a new favorite day of the week.
I know, right? It went from Friday to Monday.
Hey,
look at God.
As long as we together, don't matter what day of the week it is. It's always a vibe.
The vibe is always going to be real. So, y'all, we have a great show planned for you all tonight. I promise y'all. We see y'all in the comments coming out in, and we are excited about this. So, Sarah, I'm going to let you introduce the guest on tonight, and then we're going to go in, and we're going to play a little interlude in my Sarah Renee voice. We got
y'all gonna leave me alone with this interlude stuff.
We got a brief interlude, and then we'll get started. So, Sarah, we'll let you introduce our guest.
I don't know if you want me to read the bio or what, but tonight, you guys, we have life coach, relationship coach, Derek Jones. And if you guys are on TikTok and y'all not following him, what are you doing? What are you doing? He is known for his relationship gumbo. And if you want to know more about that, y'all got to follow him. But until you follow him, we have him coming on tonight. And he's going to talk to us about a lot of, it's called Healing After Your Heartbreak, right? But he's going to talk to us about a whole bunch of stuff because he is, when I tell y'all, he knows his stuff, he knows his stuff. He has some coaching available. He has all the things, but I'm going to let him tell y'all what's up. So after the countdown or the interlude, we're going to bring to the stage Coach Derek Jones.
All right, y'all, let's get it.
Oh, hey.
It was quick.
Yeah, it was a quick one.
Quick interlude.
Yes.
How you doing, Coach?
I'm fantastic. I'm happy to be here. We are
happy to have you. I'm excited.
Shout
So
out
tell
to
us.
Sarah for getting this interview set up because Sarah is the one that got me hooked on this guy, and I am a fan of his now.
And I'm telling y'all, I promise after this episode, y'all gonna follow him. I promise. I promise. I promise. So, let's just kick it in to the episode and tell the people who you are, Coach Derek. Let them know.
Okay, so my name is Derek Jones, aka Coach Derek, and I am a certified relationship coach, but I'm also a certified self-healing coach. So what I do is I focus really heavy on the healing side because I realize that this is an area where most of us have not looked into, and that needs to be handled before you start to date or even venture into a relationship. And if you're already in a relationship, it doesn't mean you don't have to heal. So I handle you no matter where you are in your walk, because we don't want to keep repeating the cycle. So I made this, my platform used to be dating, coaching, and all these other kind of stuff. And I was like, people are still doing the same stuff, even though they got the tools. And I was like, wait, there's something missing. So a lot of people now are calling me the healing coach. So I'm gonna have to own that, but that's where my primary focus is. So yeah, I do, I'm heavy on TikTok, but I'm a coach. So, all of the things that I have and the tools I have available for people. So, I just enjoy what I do. I love it. So it's a space where a lot of relationship coaches will not go because it's so sensitive, the healing space, because we tell people that they need to heal first, but we never tell them how. So I'm the master of the how. So come get some of this how. That's what I do.
All right.
Don't steal that, James. Come get some of this how. Don't do it. Okay. You might make a shirt. You gotta have to trademark that.
No. He need to trademark that. Come get some of this how.
Come get some of this how.
Yeah.
Hey, Boogie. Boogie's in the building, Coach.
What up, Boogie?
So I'm gonna ask you this question. I'm gonna start off. Which strategies do you recommend for someone who is trying to heal from past relationship trauma?
So trauma, the reason why I pause is because sometimes the trauma was there before the relationship, but let's pretend that it's only from the relationship, which normally it isn't. We do adopt some trauma because of how people treat us, but why we allow them to treat us is a whole different type of trauma. So if they're breaking up and they have experienced trauma from the relationship, so I'm using these words specifically, from the relationship, then the first thing to do once you've really detached, because some people don't really detach, they still have some hooks in, they still answering text message, the I miss you text and all of that. Once you're fully detached, you're going to have to go through the relationship and only look at you, right? When you only look at you, you get to see how you behaved. You can see where you went forward, where you should have stopped. And then what I also tell people is look at who you were before you met the person, because that's where most of the meat is. If you could figure out who you were before you met the person, then you could figure out why you chose them. Then once you get to the why you chose them, then you can see how you behave because of that version of yourself. And that's the stuff that we try to fix, because we could talk about how bad the other person is, but we got to make you better so that when you go back out there, that you do not repeat your cycle. So that's normally where we start.
You were the, to be honest, you were the first one to teach me about attachment styles. Mm-hmm. Like I didn't even know that was a thing. Yeah. So once I heard that, I went into like a rabbit hole, and I was just like, oh, it makes sense now.
It's a lot of these terms and things that, of course, our parents probably never thought to even look at it this way. I never thought to look at it this way. But once you actually look at your behavior, right? It's hard for us to look at our behavior when we mad at somebody else, right? But once you actually look at your behavior and you look at your movements and why, normally it goes all the way back to your childhood. We just never think to look back that far. So attachment styles is just really like we all have a reason why we attach to certain types of people. And so in psychology, they have different names for them. You could be anxious, avoidant. In the third one is called fearful avoidant, or sometimes disorganized attachment style. And then they're secure. Most of us are not secure. Most of us got something that's making us gravitate towards certain people or not. And there's a science behind it. Once you realize what your attachment style is, then it's going to show you why you behave the way you behave and why you attach to certain people. And this also a lot of times comes from things that are modeled for you in childhood as well. And you think that certain people are just attracted to you, but you stay. So we still got to look at you. The people you hate, you still stay. So we got to still look at why you keep moving this way. And a lot of times, some people just, for an example, you may have a wound of abandonment. So that you need to grab onto people all the time and you won't let them go, but you should. So we got to work on that first before we tell you it's okay to date, because you're still going to keep doing it because you've been doing it your whole life. So something's got to change, because I always tell people the way you know that you need to heal is to look at the receipts of your life. If you don't like them, then it's got to change, because it's going to keep happening.
Right.
That's deep. Do you think sometimes people can be attracted to toxicity just because of the simple fact of that's what they're used to?
Well, yes. So a lot of people are attracted to toxicity because it's familiar to them. They just may not necessarily connect the dots, but some people have seen things, whether it's with their parents or their environment, and they don't realize that as a child you internalize it. And so you subconsciously seek out things that, for an example, let's say you grew up in an abusive home, and then the parents was like, it was abusive, but I still love you. So then you think this is how love is shown. Subconsciously, you carry it with you, and then you have a trail of picking people that match the thing that made you feel comfortable, but it's dysfunctionally comfortable, right? And so you sometimes don't realize it. You just keep thinking, wow, these bad people keep finding me, but you stay for 3 years when it started hurting in 2 months. So there's a part of you that doesn't register because subconsciously you feel like this is normal. I need to function around the dysfunction because this is all I know. Because you would think if somebody toxic came and they hurt you, you would leave, right? So now we got to look at why you stay.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it was something there before you met the person. And that's where I live. It's the understanding of who you are so that we can maneuver through when you meet someone, when you feel that, because your body, something's going to feel like if something ain't right. What's going to make you bypass those alarms? Normally it's trauma.
Wow, that's deep.
You got James quiet, Coach. He's a talker. And
Dang,
you got him sitting here like his wheels are just spinning. He's
That
sitting there
is
like,
deep.
oh wow.
Once you understand who you are, right? Most of us don't even know that, right? Because we build our lives to function around what's acceptable to our family, to our jobs, to our I'm a parent, so I'm a good parent, right? But who are you, the person? Most people don't figure that out until later on in life, like maybe when their kids go away and they got to sit with themselves and they're like, okay, what do I really like? Who am I? So imagine that person who doesn't know who they are in the dating pool trying to find somebody. It's impossible for you to find a match because you don't even know who you are.
Wow.
It's impossible for you to create standards, boundaries, and all those things that we know we're supposed to have around the shell of a person who is just a functioning human being. So I try to help people understand who they are so that when you create the boundaries, it's around a healthier person. It's around a person that knows who they are. So when you meet something that real version of you doesn't like, it's going to look different when you're more healed. Your eyes, your lenses are going to be different because you're like, the real me doesn't have to suffer anymore because I'm not covering it up.
Yeah. We're just gonna put wow at the bottom of your screen, James.
Dude, I'm just gonna.
But he's right though, because when you go to like an interview or something like that, I know for me, and they'll be like, "Tell me about yourself," and I'll be like, "Oh, I'm a mom, I'm this, I'm that," but I never tell them about who I am as a person. And it's usually you'll just get this epiphany one day, and you'll be like, "I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a this, I'm a that," but what do I like to do? Because you get so comfortable with these titles and the roles of said titles that you forget all about you. And then you realize I don't even like that no more. So it's very important. This is very important.
A lot of us are in careers that we never wanted to be in because our parents told us to do it, right? You went to college and maybe you wanted to be a hairstylist and your mama was like, hell no, you're not going to go there. And then you start making money and then you start having kids. And next thing you know, you in the schedule and you never really tapped into you. 20 years later, you like, I hate working. I really want to. You find people that's 40 going to cosmetology school for the first time because they like, finally, I have a voice now. My
At
kids
40, yes. Yeah. Look at you.
Man,
I'm gonna stop looking at
I'm
you.
gonna just keep quiet. I'm gonna keep quiet because Sarah, you already know. What did I tell you today?
Oh God.
I'm gonna keep quiet.
That's confirmation for him because he was just talking about his job today too. Like, "Oh, I don't even like it here."
Yeah, I'm gonna be real.
Oh my God. Come on, James. Come back.
All right.
Come on, we gotta stick to the bullet. Let's stick to the script.
Let's go. No, man. Look, I like shows like this where like y'all make me think, because it's like I'm so used to being in control that it's like when I'm sitting back and I'm around people that are actually making me think, it's like, man, forget the script. Let's just go by, let's let it flow, because this is helping people tonight.
So, guys, if you have any questions for Coach, you can actually put them in the comments as well, so he can answer them too, because he love to do that. Now, I'm gonna tell y'all now, if y'all want the sugar-coated answer, don't ask him, because he's gonna be like, no, you need to sit down somewhere and heal, right?
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah. I got a new show called Sit Down and Heal that's coming out. But yeah, I'm not rude, but I'm direct. There's a difference, right? Sure. So the reason why I'm able to like speak this way, it's not necessarily about study. It's not even about clients. What I have been through in my life, there's been a lot of, just like most of us, there's been a lot of pain. There's been a lot of negative emotion. There's happy. There's what I have trained myself to do is to experience all of the pain, the joy, the sorrow, and just absorb it and live in it. And when I have done that and I've accepted it, I can now speak from a place where most people aren't necessarily comfortable, right? And so if you feel a certain way because you've been with a narcissist, right? And let's say you have self-doubt, he maybe attacked your self-esteem. I may not know your situation, but I tapped into what it feels like to be belittled and so when I talk, you're going to be like, oh my God, he knows my story. No, I'm a master of the emotions. I've learned how to absorb it and then regurgitate it in a way that people can speak to. So I'm very masterful at talking about how things feel. That's where I live.
We have a question from the chat.
How do you move on from a friendship that almost broke you? Almost broke you. A qualifying question. Broke you because they did something to you to break you? Because I have answers, especially to this one. Because I got a friend that I had to move on from that I was with since the 3rd grade. It was hard too.
And shout out to, as we're waiting on her to answer, shout out to Breaking the Silence podcast. Mine and one of mine and Sarah's favorite podcasts right there. Breaking the Silence. Shout out to Arthur Nikki. We love you, cousin.
Okay, so they ended the friendship without closure. So here's the thing, right? So there's no easy answer to this, right? When people, right, not just friends, when you don't get closure, there's going to be a part of you that has to have a strength where you have to accept the fact that you may not get it, and you're going to have to find the strength to move on without it. Because closure is one of those things. It's like a gift. You could get it or you cannot. And sometimes when you don't get it, you worry about it. You think about it. It's on your mind. Maybe this friend been your friend for a long time, and maybe you don't even know why they ended the friendship. You still got to live. It's unfortunate that we can't get the closure we want from people, but humans, a lot of times, they're not worrying about your need for closure. They move on, and you're going to have to eventually move on. And sometimes the attachment, I'm using these words carefully, the attachment to the friend, the need for the friend probably may come from a place that has nothing to do with the friend. It's just like relationships. Sometimes we have attachment styles even with friends, where sometimes people have friendships that they need way more than just a friendship. It's a comfort. So when it's gone, it's like a piece of you is missing and you can't move on. But I'm telling you, you don't really have a choice at this point. You're going to have to figure out how to build your strength back up and release yourself from the attachment, because if they not trying, it sucks, but you're going to have to figure out how to regain your strength from it. Yeah. So that's my answer. It's not a pretty answer, but it's going to take time, because I'm sure the friendship has been a long one. But you're going to have to learn how to move on from it, because you may wait your whole rest of your life for closure and may never get it. So I'm gonna let y'all. I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm not gonna. The host in me wants to read them, but it's your show.
Oh no, man, no.
Here's another one. I'll read it. Is there a way to help someone see them the way you see them, to help them find themselves after traumatic experiences?
So the easy answer to this is yes, but no. so you could, if the person is receptive to you, right? But a lot of people who go through trauma, they don't necessarily, they're going to see through their traumatic lenses. They probably will never see it. They probably going to need help that's not you, right? So sometimes when we're in whatever this is, a relationship or friendship or whatever, we think that because we love them so much that we can help fix them. But sometimes it's impossible us to fix them because we don't have the skill set to do it. We want to. It's your sister, right? So sometimes we don't have the skill set to figure it out to help them see themselves. And sometimes because it's your voice, it's like a little kid. They probably need to hear from somebody else, because you probably addressed it a few times and it's probably gone on deaf ears, I'm assuming. So sometimes it needs to come from another voice that they may digest it differently. And sometimes people don't want to help and they refuse it, but most of the time that's the answer, is they need someone to give them better tools so that they can help understand it and manage it, because it's not going away. It will never go away. We learn how to manage it better so that we can function in life. And there are tools, there are steps, there are procedures to help people with this that most humans don't have those tools, right? So don't feel bad that you're not able to help her because you're not trained to, right? Sometimes you hit the lottery and you can talk to a person or be there for them and then they change, but it doesn't happen often. So it's unfortunate because we want to be like, I got your back. I'm with, I'm here. And they're like, okay, cool. I see what you see. But trauma is a different beast. Like the gray area that is your mind, when you don't have clarity because of the trauma, your words, your actions are probably going to not seep in.
She said, I'm a therapist, so I approach her as a therapist to support her therapist, and then I talk to her as a sister.
Yeah. In my experience, if it was a family member, therapist or not, it's still your voice. So I'm not a therapist, guys. So you probably know more than me, Carla, but a lot of times they need to hear it from a different voice, or come at it from a different angle if what you're doing isn't working. And even that sometimes may not work. It just depends on, the severity of what they've been through. So it's definitely not easy. It's not easy. I'm not like another answer that it's not a pretty answer, but it's not easy because she's a composite of all of her life experiences. So the entryway to get it there, it could be, it's hard to tell unless, like you're a therapist. It would be difficult. But I would say if you have the tools and you're handling it and you're talking to her like a sister, but you kind of, and all of that, and it's still not working, she may need to hear it from a different voice, but then she has to be willing to listen to the new voice. That's all I got on that. Cause it's hard to sit there and watch, a family member, especially a sister, and you trying to help her and you know how to help her, but they're not receptive to it. it's a tough space to be in. But she may need to hear it from a different voice, but she's gotta be willing. This is the thing. Some people are not willing to get the help. So then you're at a stalemate, and then it just keeps going. And it's frustrating because you can't do anything to help, and you know how to help, but it's hard. So you got to try different things, try different approaches. And sometimes even in our infinite wisdoms, we're not the person to do it. I had to learn that about myself. Can't help everybody. I try sometimes, but I can't. Some people, they might have to go. I may have to route you to somebody else because obviously it's not me.
Let me ask you a question from my experience of something that I'm going through. How do you learn to, with everything that you have going on and everything that you are doing, how do you make time for yourself? Because Sarah will tell you, I am the worst at doing that. I'm the world's worst. I will run myself to the ground and run myself empty. How do you make time for yourself?
So it's difficult, right? I am the person who puts myself last, right? I have to consistently convince myself to make myself a priority, but it's still not. I know how to solve it, but innately, I want to fix everybody. I want to fix everything. I want to make sure stuff is good, and then if I have enough left, I'll say some for me. That's my innate DNA, right? But what I realize is that on the other side of it, I'm exhausted. On the other side of it, I'm probably depressed and stressed out. And I probably would still be doing it, but now I'm older and I feel it more. so now I'm like, wait, let me lay down. I'm not going to do the thing. I'm going to lay down, take a nap. I'm going to do something to distract me from the thing. Because if you don't do that, it's a lot. And then even what I do as a coach, I have to talk to other coaches because it's draining work, right? And so, and it doesn't even have to be coaching. It could be your job. You have a job, you have a schedule, maybe you got a kid or two, and there's nothing you're gonna have. We gotta fight to preserve us. We have to fight to preserve us, and we have to make time. And that a lot of times means having boundaries, because a lot of us don't. I had to create boundaries with my mama because she wanted me over there. I live an hour away, and she's like, can you come help me clean the bathroom? Can you come? And I would just go running. And then, so that hour, think about it, an hour up, maybe an hour there, an hour, that's 3 hours out of my day for a bathroom. So I had, for little stuff, right? And I'm like, I'm not your only kid, right? But I would do it because I'm the responsible kid, right? So now I had to say, you know what, Mom, I have things to do and I cannot come. And she fought it tooth and nail until I had to say it a lot. Sometimes I had to get a little stern with my voice. And, you know, we respect our parents. I'm like, Mom, no. And she's like, why are you talking to me like that? And I'm like, because I've told you 15 times I cannot do it. But once she realized that boundary wasn't moving, guess what? The bathroom got clean. The bathroom got clean. The bathroom got clean. And I didn't have to be there. And I was like,
this could have been happening.
Right.
Yeah.
So I have a question. How can we determine what are regular relationship issues versus trauma triggered ones?
Wow. Can we answer that question that's in the chat first? It's easier. And then I'm going to go there.
Okay. Which one? It was a couple.
How do you fight to preserve yourself?
Okay.
Okay.
All right. We got you.
So when I say fight to preserve yourself, it means not fighting people. You're fighting yourself, right? You're fighting your urge to put everything first. It's a fight. If this is your natural nature, you're going to have to say, okay, from 2 to 3, I'm going to go take a walk. From 2 to 3, I'm not going to work. I'm going to go, like, and it's unfortunate and it's expensive, but for me, I go to Starbucks and I just sit in there for like an hour. And then I go back home and I need to come out because I work from home, right? And I'm always here. So I have to detach from this in order for me to get clarity. And so I'll go sit and I come back and then I can focus again. Sometimes you got to disrupt the pattern in order for you to realign and put yourself first, because I will be in here and I'll be working all day. Next thing you know, the day is gone and you're like, damn, you're going to have to figure out what works for you, right? And there's a lot of things you can do to ground yourself, because a lot of times we're so in a chaotic mind. Some of us are in survival mode, been in survival mode for years. You live in life in 24-hour cycles. Somebody asks you what you're doing next Friday. You're like, I don't know what I'm doing on Saturday, and it's Friday. I don't. When you living like that, it's hard for you to make time for yourself, because everything is like, I got to pay this bill, got to pick my kid up, got to go to the soccer game, got to go to work, got to go check on my mama, got to go. And next thing you know, it's 2 years later.
And then you're sitting back like, where did the time go?
Right.
Like,
It's hard, but we have to do it because life doesn't stop, right? Our health can be affected by stress. Like I said, it did not hit me until I got a little older, and that stress was hitting a little different. And I ended up in the hospital. And I was like, oh, we're not doing this again. No, I don't like it here. We're going to have to make some changes. And so, and I'm married, so my wife helps me too, because we check in, and her questions aren't, how was your day? It's, how's your mental health? How are you feeling? The questions are a little different now. And so when I'm honest with her, because a lot of us aren't, we just say we all right. I learned to be honest with her, because it allows her a fighting chance to fill in the gaps when I'm feeling down, or and vice versa. So we match in that way, so that when I'm having a stress day, she can say, it's okay, I got you. Thank you for telling me, and vice versa. Without that, I would just keep putting the pressure on, and I can't do that no more. I cannot, I refuse. And this is why, especially for men, we don't have to tell you everything, but we can give you signals. Because I know for some people, it's hard, like especially men being vulnerable and all that stuff. It's hard, but you can give signals. You can start with signals like, hey, I need a minute. Hey, today I'm not really feeling that well. You don't have to go through the whole medical chart, but at least it lets them know that it's not them. And at least it lets them know to give you some space so that you can get yourself together. That little thing right there will change your whole relationship.
That's true.
So now back to I don't know where my finger is. Back to your question, because I know I'm gonna have to think a little bit. So go ahead and shoot it to me again.
Okay, how does a person determine what is regular relationship issues versus trauma triggered ones?
Okay, so what typically happens is, so the words that, because I use how you use the words when you say trauma triggered, right? So we're going to talk about triggered, right? Most of the things that trigger you, a lot of times will come out in like conflict arguments. A lot of this stuff comes from, a lot of times, not every time, it's a childhood wound that's being reactivated. So you react, right? Those things that trigger you in that way, and a lot of times it's subconscious, it's different from you just having a regular conflict that you can resolve, right? So it's really a lesson, again, in self-awareness versus looking at the relationship issues as a whole. If you're self-aware to how you show up, that way you can tell the difference, right? So say for an example, you know what your attachment style is. You figured it out. You did the work, right? So now when you're in a relationship, you're going to start, now that you had this, you're going to start to realize, oh, this is because I'm like this, right? And then maybe that is a moment where you can say, I apologize, babe. I'm working on this part right here. I know how it affects you. Because a lot of times what we don't realize is, let's say I have a childhood wound and you have a childhood wound. Well, when we get in a relationship, you may be triggering mine and I may be triggering yours in the same argument, and we gonna fight because I don't even know that that's where it's coming from. I just see you as my attacker and I have to be defensive, and vice versa. And I don't realize that you are hitting on you know, a trust wound. Maybe it's something happened and I felt like you didn't trust me, or I didn't trust you. And so now I'm extra hyper, and you're like, where did that come from? And now you're like, oh, his extra hyper is triggering. My mama used to, oh, hell no, we not going. And now you don't even know that y'all two are competing. It's two little kids fighting on the playground.
Right.
And then it doesn't have anything to do with the issue. So when you know who you want, and you may not know everything, but you can start. When you understand more about yourself, you're going to be able to kind of sort of tell if this is just regular everyday stuff, or is this something coming from somewhere deeper, right? Because a lot of times when we argue and we have these conflicts that dig that deep, a lot of times it was in you before you met the person. It just took them to trigger it. And then once that happens, you know, if it goes unchecked and if it goes unresolved, you're going to hang on that thing for a while. You could be like, they yelled at me. You know what? I'm not going to yell back. I'm going to just hold on to it because I want to keep the peace. And then it happens again. And then you're like, you know what? I ain't even going to, I'm going to choose my battles. By the time you get to number 50, you looking at them like, I don't even like the way you chew, but I ain't leaving. I just don't even like you no more. And it's like, but was it really about them? Or did you make a choice not to share how you felt? And then you have to ask yourself, why are you afraid to share? Where does that come from? Is it them, or were you like this before you met? Like, this is the math. Like, I call it the math. This is the math. Once we get to the bottom of the math, then the enlightenment comes. This is who I am. So now I understand how to navigate based around what I've learned about myself. If you don't know, you're going to keep picking people that's going to trigger your stuff. It's, yeah. So that's why I'm like, that's why I always say, if you don't know, look at your receipts of your dating and relationship life. And if it's ugly, if it's abusive and all of this stuff, and it keeps being that way, those are your receipts. This is a signal for you to tell, I need to heal. I need to look at myself. If you see those receipts and you keep going, then you may be in for some interesting surprises.
So my question to you is, do you believe that sometimes that the enemy that we are fighting in our relationship isn't the significant other, but it's our inner me?
Yeah. It is, and I'll explain why. When we have, and I always talk about, you know, relationship trauma, childhood trauma, or just issues. you will pick a person because, let's say you didn't work on any of it. You're going to pick a person who fits you that doesn't have to touch any of that, right? So you're going to pick a person that makes you feel comfortable holding on to the trauma, right? So if you hold on to the trauma is also the lens that you pick them from, right? I need to find somebody that my abandonment issues are going to be okay with, even though they may be someone that we call a runner. Anytime something get hot, they run. Well, I'm going to run after them and keep pulling them back. And this is my normal, right? So when you say, are you fighting yourself? The person you chose is a reflection of the things that you didn't work on. And so now, yes, you are fighting yourself because you innately made a decision based on that part of you. This is why I always tell people which part of you is doing the picking. This is the work. Which version of you is picking the partner? Where's your self-esteem? Where's your self-worth? Where's your self-love? Do you have any trauma from your childhood? Is it big T trauma? Is it little T trauma, right? Big T is like the stuff that we all believe is trauma, like the physical stuff and all of that other stuff, SA and all of that, right? But sometimes it may be because your parents were just not emotionally involved in your life as a kid. People don't call that trauma until you see who you picked because of it. And then you're like, oh my God, I should have never picked these people, but I'm searching for something I never got. So that's why I didn't vet them. That's why I had no boundaries, because I needed the emotional attachment more than I needed to see if they align with who I am. So now I'm going to have a trail of emotional attachments that should have never been, because I didn't know where it came from. If I knew where it came from, I would have stopped myself and said, wait, I'm not going to do that because of my upbringing. I'm going to ask them questions and figure out who they are to make sure that we good before I go in. But if you are greedy for that emotional attachment, you just want somebody to be there. And you're going to rinse and repeat because it makes the trauma feel good. Even if temporarily, even if for a night, even if it's for 2 weeks. After the 2 weeks is up, you got to find another one. You're not going to sit at home by yourself. You need it. That's your air. That was my story. I did it for a decade. And I did not know where it came from. My drug of choice wasn't sex. It was love. I needed to feel you love me more than I needed your body. I needed that like air. I needed it so bad. And I did not realize that. And you know, in order to make somebody love you fast, what do you got to do? You got to lie. Because I need the love in a week. I don't need it in 2 months. I need you to feel me like I'm your husband in 2 weeks. So what do you have to do to get a person to do that? You got to find broken people. I hope y'all caught that. Healed people ain't going to let you just do that.
Right.
So who better to find a broken person than a broken person? Oh, yeah. So outside of my parents, my first few relationships, they all 3 in a row. I'll never forget, all 3 in a row. They cheated. After that third one, I was like, ain't nobody gonna get me. I'm gonna get them first. And I turned into something else. Wasn't nobody gonna hurt me like that again. Because I was the innocent, you know, I talk about the nice guy. I was that dude until they crushed it. And I was like, nah, that ain't what it is. And you know what happened? And I know this a little bit tangential. When I became something else, women loved it. And I was like, y'all not supposed to like this. This isn't nice. And I got more women because I wasn't nice. And I was like, what? It works? It sounds like it works. Okay, cool. Let's get more. And it was an adrenaline rush.
If it ain't broke, why fix it? If it ain't broke, why fix it?
It boggled my mind. Because you would hear women say, oh, we want this and we want to be treated like this. And then you show them that other person, they be like, I want more. And I'm like, oh, wait, the math doesn't work. That's not what you just said.
The math ain't mathing. 2 + 2 is not equaling 4.
I'm not talking before the comments come. I'm not talking about all women, but there is a population of women who like it like that, and it shouldn't work, but it does. And ladies know this because y'all got girlfriends. Like, I'm not talking about the people in the comments, but y'all friends, we're gonna say y'all friends, not you, because y'all are innocent, right? Some of y'all have been with some dudes and you didn't care about your boundaries. You was like, I want him.
Okay.
And vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Guilty. Don't care nothing about what I said I didn't want. I fell for that BBD. She had a big butt in the smile. Even though BBD told me she was poison, I'm like, I don't care about none of that.
Let me tell you something.
Nothing about that.
There's nothing more powerful than like, right? If I like the person, who cares about the rest of the stuff? They cool. Like we as long as I'm in their presence, I'm fine. We'll worry about the questions later. I just want to keep seeing you. That was a lot of us, and I would say in our youth, but it's some 50 and 60-year-olds still doing it. So I can't say it's an age thing, but yeah, like you'll hear men talk about this all the time. I like a little crazy in my woman. And then next thing you know, they're gonna be talking about their baby mama crazy. And I'm like, dude, you asked for this.
Yeah.
You asked for crazy. You just didn't know that if you lived with it every day, that now you got to live with crazy now. You wanted it, but you asked for it up front. It's exciting up front. We want a little bit of rough. We want a little bit of crazy until you got to, when you get married to it and you in that house every day, you got to deal with that. You're going to have to deal with it. And then they be complaining, man, I ain't even trying to go home now, man. Like, can we stay out later?
No, go home. Go home. You wanted the crazy.
Be in the car for hours, okay? COVID really brought that to everybody's attention.
Didn't it? Man, COVID caused a lot of divorces because people had to deal with each other.
Yeah. Because I was a guy. I was like, I like a little crazy. It's cool. Y'all always talk about the sex is better when they a little that. But then when you become in a relationship, and they gotta be a daddy, or they gotta, do the man stuff and do the responsibility and accountability. Y'all ain't never had that discussion. so now you're like, how'd I get here? I can't leave now because I'm in love.
Right.
So let me stay and try to make it work. Well, guess what? they was crazy when you met them, and you knew they was crazy. So now you go try to make a crazy person into a nice guy. It's not gonna happen.
Crazy.
It doesn't happen.
You marry crazy and then wonder why they watching first 48 at 5 minutes.
Then you get married and you all mad because y'all fighting every day. You like, marriage doesn't work. No. It was broken before. No. Don't do that.
No.
Marriage is innocent.
It is. Don't blame the union.
Marriage is over here like, wait,
yeah.
I didn't do nothing. Y'all trauma bonded. I didn't do that. So,
and then we ask God to deliver us from it, and God's like, I didn't tell you to fall in love with him in the first place.
Exactly.
That part.
Exactly. So yeah, it's I hate to sometimes make people feel like dating and relationships is like this daunting thing. It's really a lesson in understanding who you are and move accordingly. It sounds simple, but it's really like if you do the soul searching and understanding who you are, and you actually build all of those things around that person, you're not going to let people play in your face because you know what peace feels like. So you, most of the time, if you follow your own directives, you will not stay somewhere too long once you realize that it's not serving you. And then you can move on and date someone else and not feel like you're carrying this baggage because you got out of there early.
True.
So that's what I try to teach people, how to get out of there early. What are the things about you? What are the signals that your body is telling you that you shouldn't be there? And why aren't you listening to them? Let's work on those areas before you go back outside. Because a lot of my clients, I have to tell them, don't date anybody. Don't take a phone call. Don't do none of that.
Wait. Don't take a phone call.
Don't call. Don't text. Don't do none of that.
You're going to put you on
do not date. If you come back here next week, if you talk about a guy you just met, we not talking, because you should not be outside. You're not ready. I'm telling you. I was a wolf. The wolves will smell you. I'm telling you right now. You're not ready. I was a wolf for 10 years. It's easy to find somebody who has trauma. It's easy to find someone broken even when they're not showing it, because the things that you allow me to do, the things that you give me access to unprompted, lets me know where your self-esteem level is. It's easy to sort these people out. So when I see them in my clients, I'm like, you're not ready. Let me teach you how to move around. Let me show you how to start working on your healing journey, because you're not ready. They will smell it on you. Well, I haven't dated in 10 years and I'm trying to get back out there. You don't have any usable skills. We got to get you back on track. We got to get you back on track, or when you go outside, the wolves are going to smell the greenness on you. They're going to smell that you ain't been outside in a while, and they're going to get you. And then you will confirm your bias. Oh, I see. I told you they was all bad. No, you done sat for this dude for 6 months. You should have discarded him on the first phone call if you'd asked the right questions. This is what I train people on. I'm not going, if you in my care, we're not going to let you spend too much time in somebody's face when I could have showed you what to look for in how to vet people. I have a class on how to look at word choices and body language so that you can tell what these people are up to before they get you. They're not that smart. They rely on you to be dumb. That's what it is. Y'all think, oh, they're masterful, they're a liar, and they're going to make me. No, they're not that good. You have to allow them the emotional attachment in order for their tricks to work. Yeah, Boogie's been with me for a while, and she is prepared and ready. And I told her that, like, you are ready now, so go outside and trust your skills.
I'm excited for you, Boogie.
Yeah, it's not as difficult as it's as difficult as you make it, right? But once you take in the new information, right? Because that's a hard thing. Number one, new information. Well, the information you have isn't working. So let's put something new in there. It's not working. They'd be like, and I'd be like, look at your life. No shade, but look at your life. Do you like your relationships and how they ended and all of that? If the answer is yes, then keep doing what you're doing. But if not, we got work to do. Something's not in there that needs to be put in, and you're going to have to create new habits. And habits are not changed in a day. You're going to have to do work over time. So I want people to enjoy dating, but in order for you to enjoy dating, you can't stay to places too long that don't align with you. And most people don't think about alignment when they got good vibes. They don't.
So, okay, let me ask you number 7. Even though low key you already answered it before we even got to this question, you've already answered it.
Y'all can tell I enjoy what I do.
Oh yeah, and this is why we love
Definitely.
conversations like this. We love conversations like this because it makes the conversation flow. We don't even have to go by a script. We have the script just in case the conversation ain't flowing. But with you, Sarah will tell you most of the questions we asked wasn't even on this script.
Mm-hmm.
It was off the cuff because you have made it comfortable for us. So
Good.
that's what we love. So number 7, what we're gonna ask you is what resources, books, workshops, or therapists do you recommend for healing from past relationship wounds?
Well, there's one big answer. Me.
Exactly.
So, but okay, so I do have a few therapists, but I would have to you would have to contact me and then I can kind of point you to maybe who I think fits best of what you may be dealing with. It's not like I can just like roll off a list. But I can definitely point you to some people. But on the healing thing, I am not a therapist. I repeat, I am not a therapist, but I have a lot of workshops that will help you get started on your healing journey and point you in the direction, and take care of you through that journey and then into the things that you need to date and relationship better. So I give you a full cycle. I have a library of workshops where you can get them whether you talk to me or not. If you know where you need to start, go get it anyway. I make it real easy for you. You get them a la carte. It's not like here's a 12-week program. You get them as your budget allows. And because I know life be life in. So I make it easy for you to come get it. It's also a barrier for entry. So that barrier for entry, if you say, well, I ain't going to get the workshop, then you ain't ready to get coached. Because it's very simple to do that. If I say, hey, based on what you said, I need you to take these 3 workshops, and you be like, I don't want to do that, then you ain't ready to receive the new information. So Ashley asked one of my favorite questions. I'm gonna let y'all do it. I'm sorry, it's y'all show.
All right, I'll ask it. So, what are the right questions to ask while you're in the early stages of a relationship?
So I'm going to give you an answer you may not like, but I will answer it. The questions that you need answers to, and I'm going to say it really slowly. The questions that you need answers to are going to be directly related to the person that you are self-aware of within yourself, right? What is the most important things that you need in order for you to feel safe moving forward? My questions, your questions, everybody's questions should have a little bit of nuance because of what's unique to you, right? But in order to know those things, we have to know ourselves, right? Because I could give you 20 questions that will never work for you that may work for someone else. Why? Because those questions may not fit into your life or what you need to know for you based on your experiences and your understanding of yourself, right? The other reason why these questions won't work is if you are dealing with trauma that's unresolved and you are still picking with traumatic lenses, none of the questions will work, right? An unhealed person, the questions will never work. They won't work because you won't see things coming. Now, a very short example of how you should approach the questions is you want to ask open-ended questions and not so many questions that they have ready to go. Like, what do you like to do? What's your favorite food? What's your favorite color? Do you like to travel? They're ready for those questions, right? That's different from asking, so can you tell me 3 things that you learned from your mom that turned you into the person you are today? Like, how did it affect you? They got to think. Once they think, it's a gift to you because you get to sit back and watch how they receive it. You get to watch if they're going to reject it. You get to watch their body language and whether it's a happy place or something that's a little bit of, you get the gift of being able to watch the language that is the most of communication, which is nonverbal. You get that gift, right? The canned answers, everybody has. But when you start asking probing questions without it sounding crazy, you could be like, you said you work at McDonald's. What do you love the most about your job? They're not looking for these questions. They're looking for, so when we gonna hang out again? I really like you. They're gonna be doing that to stop you from doing it. You're so gorgeous. Damn. When can I see you again? Like, I'm gonna call you. Can you let me know when you get home? You ain't even think about the questions now because you tingly. But you know basic information. You know where they work. You know what they like. Oh, you like this? Oh yeah, I like that. Do you like the food that you eating tonight? Yeah, it's amazing. Y'all gonna go through that, but you've learned nothing. See, if you ask open-ended questions and you gather information, you will get 10 answers from one question. What you're doing is you are creating a character profile. That character profile is being built so that you can see if it aligns with yours, right? Whether they're conscious of what you're doing or not. This is information gathering stage, right? So you're looking for alignment and not attachment, because attachment feels amazing. The vibes, the energy, the chemistry. Oh my God, we'll ask the questions next time. Ugh, that hug. That it's not gonna serve. It's cool. You can do both though, right? You can get the tinglies and you can get the information. A lot of this general stuff can be done before you even go on the first date, right? And what people typically say when I tell them this is their go-to thing. Well, what if they lie? What if they lie? Then what? They're going to manipulate me. Here's the gift in the lie. If you ask them questions that they're supposed to answer truthfully, supposed to be true, keep it here. Now you take those supposed to be truths and you watch how they move and see if they match. If they don't match, get out of there. But you won't, because your pinky toe shaking in your shoe. Like, oh my God. You got to let oh my God, you can't let that drive you, because it's not going to serve you, and it hasn't in your past. It's not going to help you in your future. Get the character profile. And some people, a lot of us are not 18. These are grown-ups. So if a grown-up doesn't want to answer life questions, they're not ready for you. That's not your man. That's not your woman. They don't want to answer questions that you need in order for you to feel safe. It sounds like an interview. Why are you asking all these questions? That's not your man. The question should be, why don't you want me to know who you are?
Yep.
Why don't you want me to know who you are? It's too many questions. Really? Are we supposed to be learning each other? Why are you avoiding this? Because it's a test. I need for you to hear me. It's a test to see if you will bypass your own rules. So once you push it off because they say it sounds like an interview, you've broken your boundary. So here is the PSA of the day. If there is someone who is out here to mean you harm, they're a predatory dater, narcissist, or whatever, it's two things that they're looking for. Thing number one, emotional attachment. They need it fast so you don't see the red flags. Number two, they're looking to test your boundaries on day one to see where you have a weakness. What are you going to generally supposed to say no to that you're going to grant me because you like me? Once I get enough of these in my bag, the rest of them are going to fall like dominoes because you like me enough. Your like is going to nullify your standards, your boundaries, your deal breakers. It's going to mean nothing to me if I'm in your house. It's going to mean nothing to me if you let me touch your thigh on the first date and you said that was a boundary. Oh, I don't really kiss people, but for you, you seem nice, so you just broke something you told me you wasn't going to do for anyone. We've all done it, but it's a barrier. And then once that barrier breaks, you're not looking for red flags anymore. But then a year later, you're going to be like, I never knew that you had an opportunity to find out. And that's what I teach people. You don't let anyone slide. I don't care how cute they are. They getting the same questions and they getting the same qualifiers, no matter how they make you feel, so that you can be safe. So if you bypass this, once you get this information, that means you don't care about your safety. Ladies, I talk to ladies all the time because these men are, Shira knows, what are they? When you first meet them. Yes, they're strangers. They're strangers after the first week. They're strangers after the second week. They're strangers after the third and fourth week. You do not know these people. Why are they in your house where your kids live? They might not be there that day, but you don't know this. You do not know this person. And most of the time, when you let them in the house early, you definitely didn't ask the questions because it feels good. You cooking them down, I'm going to cook you dinner, and I'm going to do. It's 2 weeks. You know what y'all say? I'm grown. How's that been working out for you? You bypass all your safety measures. All of them. For what? For a feeling. A feeling ain't strong enough to build a relationship on. You need information. You need behavior patterns to watch and all of that. You ain't looking at none. Oh, he hasn't called me in 3 weeks. Maybe he's busy. Stop. Like y'all be letting these people play in your face. And when you do that repetitively, we're going to start looking at your trauma because it's in there somewhere. You like it. Some part of you likes this dysfunction. 3 weeks, somebody ain't called. Well, he said he's taking a class, but he also said that he was trying to pursue you. He also said that you're the only one he's talking to. So this is what I always tell, because women used to ding me on this a lot when I was out there back in the days when they had stage coaches and stuff, way back there.
Not stage coaches.
I have to do that because people are going to think I'm talking about something I'm doing now. I'm about to be 14 years married. Way back in the day, right? Because they can be like, he dating people now? No, I'm not. So look, so I have to put that out there because the internet is not kind. So
it ain't. Trust me, it's not.
Way back in the day, when I used to move around and try to play this whole testing your boundaries game, all of that stuff, and I would be missing because I'm out there doing other stuff, right? And then they would be like, so how long does it take to text though? Like, well, I was busy, I was working, and I just oops. Maybe like for 2 days. That's a oops. And I was like, yeah, I told you I work, and it's hard work, right? So then they're like, okay, so let me ask you a question. How long does it take for you to text? And I was like, oh, I guess a few seconds, I guess. So you mean to tell me in your hard work day, you didn't eat lunch? You didn't go use the bathroom at all? Like none of these little breaks happen because you're so busy that you didn't think about the person that you said was a priority for you? How's that? The worst thing you can do to make that person just spin around like the Tasmanian devil? You say these words: I don't know what you're doing, and I really don't care what you're doing, but I need for you to lose my number because I'm choosing happiness. I don't know what you're doing. Have fun over there. Man, I'm going to tell you, that thing ate up my ego for about a week. I was like, how did her boundaries are working?
Like, how does she have boundaries?
The boundaries are working. She's not going to let me play in her face. But let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. She was in the minority. Very few. Once you like a person, you're going to let some stuff slide. And you're going to be like, this don't feel right. But I like maybe he. And then you'll start finishing my life for me. You'll be like, well, maybe he was. You were bit. You did say that. Okay, well, I know you probably were caught up. And I was like, I didn't even finish it. Thank you. You finished it for me. Once you start finishing my sentences for me, you're done. Well, maybe an elephant did step on his phone and he had to get a new one. I'm like, there's no elephant in DC. What?
Not an elephant.
Because and the reason why I use elephants and giraffes, because the stories be silly, and you'd be like, well, maybe
exaggerated.
Maybe his car broke down and his boss did have to take him home, and he couldn't call me in 2 days because he had to get his car from the tow place in the man. And I'd be like, you believe that? Okay, cool. I'll be over there at 9:00, and then you be like, okay, cool. And then what I'm doing is I'm training you to be okay with my absence. You're being conditioned. So when it happens again, you're like, oh yeah, that giraffe probably, it was a giraffe this time. The giraffe
Mufasa.
picked up
Mufasa came
it'd
over there and
be
grabbed his phone.
crazy stuff, y'all. And I be talking to people when I'm coaching them, and I'm like, I used to do that and it worked. And I be listening to them, they be like, well, maybe, I mean, it's been 3 weeks and I just met him. And I'm like, you just met him. He's a stranger. You shouldn't feel nothing. He's a stranger. So then the meat is, why do you feel so much anxiety over a stranger? There's something in you, right? And it's probably anxious attachment.
Yeah.
That you need that person to be there so bad, and you've only met them once, and they disappeared. They haven't called you, and they're playing in your face, and you like, but I'm gonna have to start over and meet new people. Yes, you will. Yeah. But you got to move around. This is not, your time should mean more. We're not young. We can't be 3 weeks turned into 2 months. By the time you get to month number 3, you already in love. So now what? Now you can't leave.
Mm-hmm.
This is why it's important to learn these things like the attachment styles and understanding who you are, because when you start to move that way, you're going to be like, wait, oh, I shouldn't be doing it. I normally would. But now I know what this is, because now I know what to call it. I'm pining after somebody that I don't know. And you're going to hear my voice in your head. It's a stranger. It's a stranger. And then once you start hearing that voice, because this is what my clients tell me, they hear my voice in their head. Like, I was going to do it, but Coach Derek, his voice told me,
that's
stop.
So true.
Stop. You don't know. 2 weeks in, it's still, you don't know this person. Y'all be on the phone for 4 hours the first day. You know, oh my God. We've been on the phone for 4 hours. I feel like I've known you my whole life. This is my person. And I'm like, no, they're a stranger.
Mm-hmm. In that 4 hours, I told you what I wanted you
on
to
the
know.
phone, fall asleep. Like, no, you hang up. No, I'm going to hang up when you hang up. That's not love, y'all.
That's me keeping you right where I want to keep you. And then that way, I know you ain't doing what I've been out there doing.
That one phone call will destroy every boundary and standard you have.
Yeah, it's a small investment for a lifetime goal.
And he ain't spent $1.
Facts.
No date. Nothing. So guess what's gonna happen by the time you see him? You go, oh, that phone call.
That pinky toe.
You're done. You're done already. And that didn't even take a week.
Oh my God.
That one phone call might get you for 2 years.
Right.
I still remember that phone call when we stayed on the phone all night.
Let me tell y'all, in all honesty, tonight, I know a lot of times y'all see me over here on my phone sharing out the live, sharing out the live and all of that. But tonight, if y'all saw me on my phone tonight, I was taking notes to better prepare myself for where I'm at now, because I refuse with the queen that I have now, I refuse to make the same mistakes that I made in the past.
Yeah.
So
once we get the information, you should not, and I repeat, once you know what to call it, you can't use it as an excuse anymore. You're gonna have to move forward and hopefully do better. But a lot of times that do better, you can't do alone. You're gonna need someone to. That's why I coach. Like, it's an easier swallow when you can heal with a guide, when you can figure out how to date better with a guide, because the information in your head is the same information. So you're going to keep doing the same thing because people don't want to be inside. They want to be outside. You keep going outside with that same information that's destroyed you before, you're going to pick again. You're going to pick again. It's going to be the same cycle. It's still you that did not change and deal with whatever you got to work on. And the reason why a lot of people don't work on it is because that means you got to sit down. You got to sit down. And you're going to have to
sit down and heal. Sit down and heal.
Sit down. You're going to have to sit down and be with yourself. And that's a scary place for people. I've met, y'all know, there's people out here that can't sit for a week. They need to be in somebody's face. They need it. Like for me, it was a club. If I was feeling lonely, I just Friday night, let me get some phone numbers. The next Friday night, I can't sit by myself. I'm gonna find somebody, and I could not sit. There's some women I meet, they're like, my bed. I'm used to somebody I just broke up, and I'm used to somebody being in my bed. I can't sleep by myself. I'm like, you can't sleep by yourself? What the? You can't sleep by yourself for 3 days?
It's the best.
It's some. we got work to do.
Man, we definitely, Sarah and I have already said it. You definitely have to come back for a part 2. We gotta have you back for a part 2. So you all, Sarah has already put in the comments where you can find him at. We want you all to get ready. We are going to announce ahead of time when he is coming for part 2. And we're going to give y'all the opportunity to email us y'all's questions for us to ask him for part 2.
Yep, I'm ready. I'm ready.
So let's make this happen. We're definitely going to be in contact with you all. We love you all. We appreciate you all rocking with us tonight. And if you have not went over to musicloveawards.com, we challenge you to go on over there and vote for Real Talk Monday as your podcast of the year. You can vote as many times a day as you want. And if you don't believe us, you need to go over there, check us out.
Alexa, set a reminder.
What's the reminder for?
Go vote for Real Talk Monday.
When should I remind you?
Every day at noon.
Okay, I'll remind you every day at noon.
Y'all better set y'all an Alexa reminder to remind you to go on over there to musicloveawards.com and vote, 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 vote. We appreciate you all. Coach Derek, we're going to give you an opportunity to close out the show. I'll turn it over to Sarah after that, and then I'll give my closing remarks.
Okay, so I appreciate everybody who's chimed in the comments and the questions, and I appreciate you too for inviting me. And like I said, like you said, we should do this again. I enjoyed myself. Like I said, I love what I do, and I love helping people heal. And I know we probably went on some tangents tonight, but the work and the information is always the same. If you want to be better, you're going to have to bring in better information and better habits, and you do not have to do it alone. You can reach me for every single thing that I'm doing at my website, relationshipgumbo.info. If you go there, all things flow from there. There's a free community there called Coach Derek's Healing Hub. There's a new show starting this week called Sit Down and Heal with Coach Derek. So it's a lot of stuff coming in the future. But right now, the information that you need in order for you to heal or relationship better, that information don't change. The only thing that needs to change is you. So I'm landing my plane.
Hey y'all. So I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. And I told you you was going to enjoy tonight's episode. And like Coach Derek said, y'all make sure y'all go and follow him because he has some amazing things for y'all. He truly loves what he does, and he puts his all into what he does. And a lot of the times, we have to pay so much money to go to therapy and get the help, but it's affordable, I promise you, and it's worth the money. So invest in yourself, invest in the healing, and your future self will thank you for it. And shameless plug, but he will be on the Blemish Beauty podcast next week too, Friday Night Live. We're going to be talking about a couple of things. He don't like to know the titles ahead of time, y'all. So we're going to be talking about a couple of things. But yeah, y'all make sure y'all come back on Friday nights with me, and we're going to talk to him. So have a good night, y'all.
All right, y'all. As I always say, as we close out, we appreciate you all rocking with us tonight. We love y'all for rocking with us in the comments. You can go over to Pandora around midnight. Pandora, Spotify, Amazon Podcast, everywhere the podcast can be heard. You can find this episode on there. It will be released tonight. You can also catch a word from the Rev. That has already been released. And we appreciate you all so much. We love y'all. And as I always say, as we close out, sometimes our disappointments are nothing more than God's appointments, meaning some things that we're looking at is bad. God is only turning it around for our good. Stay blessed, be blessed, and be a blessing to someone else. And we will see you all next week. Love y'all.